What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Cologne. Today, we're going to be looking at a somewhat of a new release. It's going to be Stronger With You Intensely, but this is going to be the 2024 version. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so lately I had seen the Strong With You Intensely popping up all over the place, and for the longest while, the Strong With You, pretty much the whole line, was actually a little bit difficult to get, especially from retailers. Now, a lot of discounters still had them, but retail-wise, it wasn't. Well, I was poking around the other day, and now it seems like every retailer out there has just got a whole new wave of it. Well, come to find out, they did a 2024 relaunch, reformulation, kind of iffy on that one. As far as reformulation goes, we know it was reformulated because it is slightly different, but as far as what's different, that's a little bit harder to tell. But before we get too far into it, we are going to start out by showing off the atomizer. And the atomizer on the Strong With Yous are very good. It's got a good center burst, it's got a good spread, it's got a solid projection. It's not pressurized, but it doesn't really need to be. But what you get when this fragrance first gets in the air is you get a little bit of a sweetness, you get a little bit of a gourmand, you can pick up a whole lot of warmth, just a very warm, good, inviting fragrance. But what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and put two there on the arm. And just like with the other Strong With Yous, my biggest nitpick is gonna be this cap. It's gotta be put on perfect. If not, it doesn't snap into place. But again, when this first hits your skin, you get such a smooth fragrance. So that's probably be the best way to describe this one. It's very relaxing, very smooth. You get a little bit of a spiciness off the top, but you're mostly going to find it's a warm, it's inviting. It's got a little bit of a cinnamon note to it, and it's got a little bit of just undertones of softness in there. So like it's going to have a little bit of floral undertones. That blended all well together, it just comes out to be just a rock solid fragrance. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go over the notes real quick. The top notes on this is going to be pink pepper, juniper, and violet. And you get a little dose of that pepper, you get a little bit of that violet, because like I said, those kind of play with each other to give you a little bit of a warm floral kind of vibe. The middle notes on this is going to be toffee, cinnamon, lavender, and sage. And that is probably what you're going to get the most of all the way until the deepest dry down, is that toffee is going to give you a little bit of a gourmand. The lavender is going to make it a little airy, a little soft. And then that cinnamon is just going to warm this up and give it just a nice little spiciness that just suits it well. And then the base notes on this is going to be vanilla, amber, tonka, and suede. And the vanilla and the tonka bean just give this thing a beautiful sweetness. And the amber just kind of warms it up. And the suede, to me, actually makes it feel a little bit of a leather vibe to it. I get a little more of a leathery, kind of an old-fashioned leather than I do suede off of this. But one of the notes that aren't listed that I kind of feel like this would have is this has just the tiniest touch of like an earthiness, almost like a vetiver or a moss or something. I'm kind of surprised that's not listed, because as this fragrance starts to dry down, my nose always picks it up. On this one, even on the original one back from 2019 and 2020, always got a little bit of it on there, but for some reason it's not listed here, so who knows. But what we're going to do, we're going to get into the price, performance, and availability. So availability wise, since this was kind of a relaunch, it should be everywhere now. Almost every store I've been to has this now. Your average discounter definitely should have this. Price wise, you can pick this up off discounters for about that $90 range. But to my surprise, the retail price on this was very good. This is $110 retail. So shout out to Armani for actually keeping this one fairly cheap, considering a lot of the re-releases and a lot of the new fragrances that came out in the past year or two. Normally you're looking 140, 150 somewhere. So shout out to them for keeping it cheap. Armani, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Azzaro real quick too. Those two companies have been putting out some really good fragrances over the past few years, and they're honestly making it fairly affordable. So good job there. But back on topic. So now we're gonna get into the performance. And the performance on this one is good and bad almost at the exact same time. So this fragrance can be loud. The longevity on this fragrance is about 8 or 9 hours. But when you first put this fragrance on, it stays very loud. It stays moving, it stays pumping for only about 4 or 5 hours. And then this fragrance has a steep drop off. So for those first few hours, the sillage and projection, monstrous. You get several feet sillage and projection alike. This becomes a skin scent very quickly, but it's like a loud skin scent. So I can't really say that the fragrance falls off. It goes from being incredibly loud to a skin scent very quickly, but it's still a noticeable skin scent because it still gives off a decent sillage when you're moving around, but it's more so the projection that just kind of tanks. Kind of weird on that one. That's why I said good and bad. But now we're going to talk about some of the deeper parts of the dry down. So it's been about 30 minutes on this one. And this fragrance doesn't really have that big of a change. It's more linear than some of the other stronger with yous. But what you get out of this fragrance when it does get in the deepest parts of the dry down, you hold on to some of that gourmand, you hold on to a lot of that sweet. So the fragrance as it dries down does stay more gourmand sweet. But what this fragrance also does is stays very warm. A lot of the cinnamon kind of holds on all the way through it. It has just slight undertones of some of the floral. And like I said, it could be the juniper, it could be the way some of the stuff's blended together. But I feel like this does have a little bit of like a moss or a vetiver note kind of working its way through the background. Not bad by any stretch. It kind of darkens it up, gives it maybe just a little bit more of an earthy tone, just a little. But for the most part, what you're going to be left with is just a nice, warm, very inviting. It's going to have little blends of spicy. It's going to have good blends of sweet. So all in all, pretty solid fragrance. One of the things I wish they would do is if this was a reformulation going deeper into the gourmand side of it, I kind of wish the toffee note was just a little bit stronger, and also kind of wish that it would have any form of like kind of a wood note in here, because at the base of it, you do feel like there's a vetiver or a moss or something. I feel like if you had like a small touch of sandalwood or oak, or maybe like a small, well, no, I guess they couldn't do a bourbon note because then that would just make this stronger with you, absolutely. But yeah, I just kind of wish there was like a little bit of a wood note or just like a nuttiness or just something to switch it up just a little. This should be an easy reach, especially for the winter months. Hopefully the performance will hold on just a little bit better during the cold months. When I started wearing this, it was still just a tad warm outside. So we're going to play around with this one a little more this winter and see if we can't get a little more performance and a little more longevity out of this thing. But yeah, this could easily be a date fragrance. This can easily be like a cuddle up fragrance, an evening fragrance. It does kind of need the cold. I did wear this on a hot day and it fell off insanely quick and was a little bit cloying on that. So this one definitely leans itself very much a cold weather fragrance. But a lot of the fragrances that we're going to be talking about, a lot of fragrances we're going to be reviewing probably for the next couple months at least, that's what they're going to be centered toward. Now, I will say, as far one thing this does that maybe some don't, is this one has a very easy mass appeal to it. If there's going to be something most people don't like about this, it's probably going to be that opening, because when you first spray this fragrance is incredibly loud. There's nothing soft or subtle about this when it first hits your skin. But if I had to give this fragrance a rating right now, honestly, I would score it a 9 out of 10. The only few things I'm going to dock it for is it does have that rapid decline in performance halfway through. And to me, I feel like this is just a little bit too close to what some of their other fragrances are, specifically Stronger With You, absolutely. When you pair that one with this one, they're almost the same. The only real difference is one is going to have like a rum and bourbon. One is going to have like a rum bourbon note, and then this one has more of like the toffee gourmand kind of feel to it. Me personally, I would prefer absolutely over this one, but this one is still rock solid. I would not discourage anyone from buying this. This should be an easy reach for anyone. And what you get, the naturalness that you get, the quality that you get out of this, is still going to be a rock solid fragrance. But I do think that's going to get us wrapped up. I'm going to try to get it on this bottle. It's going to fight my ring light just a little. Bottle quality, very good. It's a good, heavy bottle. It has a snap cap. You can hold it by the cap if need be. The one thing I don't like, though, and I said this in my Absolutely video as well, the cap has to be lined up perfect to snap on. I don't know why that bugs me so much, but just you got to find something to nitpick, right? But yeah, all in all, good quality fragrance, very fair price. That's probably the thing I love the most, is they've priced these fragrances very fairly to me. But that is going to get us wrapped up. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, for sticking around, staying tuned. I hope y'all are enjoying the videos. And as always, we will see you next time.